Welcome to Tammy Nation. Let's go.
I've been running from 9 to 5, been biting my tongue for all this time. Won't let anyone cut me short. I was thinking this was the way to go, and you put up your puppet show. I say cheers to life. No, I'll be no good man. Just leave me alone. I'm running the show. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. No, you better go home.
Good evening, everybody. Boy, it is a hot potato Monday in the news. A lot of things are popping off right now, and I got home from work and I started looking at stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, miss a few moments on a Monday and all heck is breaking loose all across with different stories. There's so much going on. It's pretty much impossible at this point to keep up with it, but there's some points that I wanted to make, some stuff that I thought was really important to get out there. And then I know you guys can get on it yourself as far as checking it out and stuff. Hey, Kim, it is good to see you. And the cat, it's good to see you. Good to see you guys tonight. Yeah, so like I said, I'm like a little bit hyper from looking up some of this information and stuff. But a lot of different people are popping off with all the different things. Hey, Chris, it's good to see you. And the first big one of that I want to talk about is Durham. He's back. He finalized his report today. If you didn't see that, he actually came out and did the wrap up to his research on all of the stuff going on with Russia, and the report. And he came out and said, you know what? Guess what? Mr. T is innocent. All these other people, hey, Sharon, are guilty for going after him on unfounded facts and papers. They had no proof of anything. So for how many years now? 4, we've been going through this with Russia, and everything. The whole administration with Trump was under attack for 4 years. I mean, think of how many lives were destroyed, how upsetting it was, how many things were interrupted for this country, why they were investigating Trump for 4 years on unsubstantiated evidence. There's no evidence out there. And it all came from the Democratic Party. But you know what? They did nothing but lies. They perpetrated this whole thing with Mr. T for 4 years on nothing but lies. We've been waiting for details to come out on this. He finally wrapped it all up today, and it was pretty bad. And it's the money wasted, time wasted, the energy wasted. You guys, think about how much we could have accomplished in this country without them doing that, wasting money, wasting energy, trying to flip it so everybody's against Mr. T and everything, when they had absolutely nothing to go on, nothing. And you know, this is Kash Patel actually came on Real America's Voice and was saying that basically the fake news now, the ones that said everything was a conspiracy, Mr. T's guilty, and Russia, they crammed on our throats. Kash Patel came out and said, no, fake news is being forced to report that President Trump is innocent as a result of the Durham report. And they are injecting that into the media narrative for the first time to an audience that has never really heard that. So think about that, you guys. The fake news media cannot deny that. Now that everything is out there and Durham's wrapped it up, he didn't recommend any more criminal charges. He just wrapped everything up and said there was absolutely no base to go after Mr. T, zero at all. And so the chips are starting to crumble. And, you know, we've said this many times, you get the fatigue of saying nothing's happening. And sure enough, just as they're at the end of this, Durham wraps it up and boom, out of nowhere, he reappears. And the interesting thing is Jim Jordan just tweeted out probably a few minutes ago. He said that they've reached out to the Justice Department and that they are going to have special counsel John Durham testify next week. They're hoping to get him to testify next week. So that is something definitely to look forward to. We hope that happens. They're going to obviously move on this really fast. Who wouldn't move on this fast with all this? I mean, it's been years of waiting for the truth to come out, and the wrap up of this report and stuff. And I can't believe it. It's just, out of nowhere, it finally happened. So we'll see what comes of it. I know people are going to say, what's going to come of it, Tammy? You know what? Something's got to come out of it, because they can't hide anymore. There's no way that they're able to bury this anymore. There's no way they can switch it up and say Mr. T did this and this and this, because guess what? They've come out with the report, and it was like I said, unsubstantiated, which to me is a huge deal. And there's going to be a lot of after effects of this. I feel there's going to be a lot of takedowns from this. There's a lot of people that are going to have to pay the consequences for their actions. There's a lot of people. Think back of how many people knew this was going on and partook in this. I mean, this was a sitting president, and that big word T, treason, comes at mind right here, right? So it's the beginning of the cookie crumbling, right? Kim Ellen, hey, yes, Kim Ellen, I did decide to go on. I look a hot mess, but that's okay. Who cares, right? To me, this is celebratory in the fact that everything that Mr. T so far, he's been right. People nitpick at him and say, he's not the Messiah, he's not this, he's not that. We never said that. What we're saying is he's standing up for this country. He's exposing corruption. He's exposing these criminal families, and people thought he was just lying about it, or he's just whatever they thought, the stupid things they thought. Here we go. He was right with everything. And it is a happy day. It is a happy day, Kim Ellen, because it seems like there's a little bit of justice finally. We've waited a long time for it. Like we said, there's so much time was wasted, so much money was wasted. But in the end, for it to come to fruition like this is important, and it's worth the wait. It's worth the investigation. And yes, it was money wasted that the Dems did and what they did to attack Mr. T, but in the end, justice will prevail, we hope. I'm going to celebrate in this fact because, for a long time, people didn't even think Durham existed. We saw him come and go, and then, he became a caricature of himself and all that, but here he is. He said Mr. T is innocent, and that's a breath of fresh air. Hey, Cam. Yeah, exactly. Will they actually do anything? All I can say is at this point, if nothing is done to an administration and a bunch of people that are supposedly our representatives that attacked a sitting president on unsubstantiated evidence and drug him and this country through the mud like they did and wasted our money, there has to be repercussions from it. There is no way there can't be repercussions from it. If there aren't any repercussions, we are doomed, because this can't happen, because this is just to keep happening to anybody then, not just the president. It can happen to us. Where does it stop then? My thing is, I believe after all this time and effort, and like I said, Jim Jordan's having the Justice Department, he's reached out to them to have Durham testify next week, and that'll be interesting for me to see. They do seem to always get a pass, but you know what, Cam? Everybody gets caught in the end. You can't hide and run forever, I don't think, and I just think that, this is time. It's just time. The other important thing that's breaking and coming through today, I'm all hyper, you guys. I have like dry mouth. I got to keep drinking water because I'm so excited. It's been a long time since I've been excited about stuff in the news. I mean, for good stuff, and I am. The other thing that I want to talk about is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was on Bannon's War Room today, and she was coming out talking about how their whistleblower is safe, because there's a lot of rumors that the whistleblower, there is no whistleblower, they're gone, they're hiding, blah, blah, blah. She said their whistleblower is safe. Now, the whistleblower that she's talking about is the whistleblower. This is the double thing against that came out today against the Biden family. This whistleblower is the one that came out with direct evidence that leads to Joey B and his family, that they took payment from foreign nationals in exchange for foreign policy favors. Okay, so the Senator Grassley is the one that helped out with this whistleblower, and she said this whistleblower obviously is worried about their life. They have concerns, but they are in a safe place, and that that this is a serious thing going on, and this is a real thing. This is not just hearsay. This is not just something that anybody can spin anyway. These are facts. These are things going on that Grassley helped out with. There are a lot of whistleblowers that they are not able to talk to, she said, because they're either in jail, they can't be found, or they're in court. But she said this is such a serious thing that they're doing, that they went back to the Treasury Department today. It was 1:00 Eastern Standard Time. They were going back because there's so many more financial records that they have to look through that involve Mr. B and his family directly. So because of this whistleblower that Grassley helped out with, they already have a lot of evidence. They already have seen a lot of paperwork, but there's still more to be found. And that doesn't sound good for Mr. B and his family. And this is what Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and said today on national, TV on War Room with Steve Bannon. She said this is so important that it will take down the president of the United States. Those are some pretty damning words, and that's a pretty bold statement if you aren't sure of what is going to happen in regards to some information that you have through a whistleblower. I don't think she's going to come out and say something so severe like that if there isn't anything leading to that kind of ending for this. We know that there has been records upon records. We know about the laptops that nothing ever is done for. And I agree with Cam that a lot of stuff comes out and nothing's ever done about it. But I think that, I think the volcano's getting ready to erupt because there was a lot of investigating that had to go on. There was a lot of research. There was a lot of documentation that had to be filed and accounted for. There was a lot of testimony that has to be done. You have to have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. You can't come out and just have a half put together report or a half put together accusation when you're talking about a country and the president of the United States and the family and the dealings and stuff. I mean, it's serious stuff that they've been investigating. And so now that they've got it packaged up, they've weeded out some of the people. Remember, not everybody was 100% and on the up and up when they started all this either. There were people that have been weeded out that were not that good people that were, made deals and stuff, people that were acting on one side and were on the other side. So remember, they've had to rummage through the good people that are fighting the good fight, the ones that are honest, the ones that really want to find the truth to what's going on in this country. And some of these things that we've been playing with for 4 years have fought the good fight. They've stayed on their mission. They've done the good deed. And I think now it's the end where we're starting to see things unravel in a uniform way. So when you've got Durham's report coming out today, you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene on Bannon's War Room talking about the financial records that are there being investigated, being looked up in the Treasury Department. Those are two major things, two major blows that are hard for anybody to bury, anybody to put aside, anybody to say, oh, this is just hearsay. It's some serious stuff. Then the third major thing that I wanted to talk about was the border crisis that's going on. This is another Biden thing. We know Title 42 expired. We know that there's a lot of issues with that. We know that they've upped the people, the protective, the National Guard, different people that are there trying to protect our borders. I said the other day on my show that it's the interiors of the different cities and states as well, that these people are infiltrated, that they don't just stay along the borders. The border cities do face a lot of challenges and a lot of threats and a lot of violent criminals along there, but they are imported into the aspects of the country. And there is a Heritage Foundation map. It is actually a map that came out in December of 2022. And what it is, it's a study on the illegal alien movements inside the U.S. interior. And they've been following it through phone locations, movement of cell phone locations and stuff like that. They follow them from the point of their launching point to destinations all across the U.S. There's out of 52 different congressional districts with the highest density of these devices, and the devices are what these aliens have when they come across the border. 71% of them were located in and staying in Republican congressional districts. So you have to ask yourself, how is that? Why is that? Why are 71% of these people that have been crossing over in Republican congressional districts? Hey, Camperman, maybe it is boomed. It's time for the boom, Camperman. I agree. And DeCat says the chains are breaking. A different kind of justice will follow now. Good news. And all patriots and all of us should be celebrating. We've been so calm. We've been let down, but we've been patient. Like I said, when it's on this massive level of what's going on and the corruption and the different puzzle pieces moving, yes, it's going to take a while to get to the end result. And the end result, as devastating as it is, if it's the truth, it's the truth. We get these people out of there. They're held accountable and everything else. So the other thing regarding the border stuff, they're in the impeach word, which I don't want to say too much out there with that word, because you never know what can happen when you say that word. But there's a GOP leader that's ready to start the impeachment for a Biden official because of the border crisis, because too many people are being injured or unalived. There's 85,000 children missing, you guys. 85,000 kids that have crossed over that border that they have no idea where they're at. They're lost. And so this is why the GOP leader, and who he is he's the majority whip, Tom Emmer, called for Mayorkas to be impeached, claiming his failure to act as the chief border official necessitates his removal while calling upon Congress to take action. So he was interviewed with Breitbart News in his Capitol office, and Emmert said, Mayorkas won't resign voluntarily, so we feel he should be impeached. He's basically failed at his duties. He feels that it's a great malfeasance by President Joe Biden's top border official, that they talk about being humane, and that's what this administration keeps saying, that they're humane, everything's humane, everything is good, the border's closed, everything's under control. Yet we've got 85,000 children missing. People are getting unalived. He said that you've got 80 people that have come across the southern border that are on the terrorist watch list. That's not people just looking for safety to flee their country and to have a better life for their family. These are terrorist watch list people that are breaking through these borders and getting through, and nobody knows where they're at. So Daniel Baranowski also came in and said that Secretary Mayorkas should be held accountable, and that high crimes and misdemeanors against the Constitution is his opinion of what he should be in trouble for, that he's not doing his job and stuff. So the reason I'm saying some of these words is because we've heard these words at the beginning of this, when everything was like a pipe dream, or it was just hearsay, or it was conspiracy theory. And we got familiar with all these words. We expected them to happen, boom, 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 and they didn't. And we got laughed at, we got made fun of. But here we are now. It's in major papers, it's in major interviews, and it's major representatives that these people want to be held accountable for what they have done, or the lack of what they have done. And that kind of snuck through the news to me with this GOP leader doing this, because he said that his failure to act has caused serious damage and serious threats to the United States of America. And it really has. He said that the Biden administration has blood on their hands because of their failure to secure the border. It's child abuse, in his opinion. They're not vetting any of these sponsors of the parents or the sponsors of these children. So if they're being sponsored and they're coming across in this country, these children, whatever adults are bringing them in, they're not vetting them to find out who the heck they are. They're just believing them. And if you remember, I said before on a show, Frank Lopez Jr., the border patriot, was saying, he did a live video, and he showed that a lot of these children were sitting on the laps or sitting by single young men. And he was going along asking them, are you the parent? Are you the brother? Are you a relative? And a lot of them would say, no, we're just the supervisor. We're just trying to help these children cross. It wasn't families. And, if you look on a lot of his Frank Lopez Jr.'s videos, which I talk about him all the time because I think he's one of the best at covering the border. He was a border patrol agent. He's retired now, but he's still in the fight. He showed actually what was going on in real time, and he's been doing that. So there's no fogging it up. There's no making light of it. You see what is actually going on in real time. And he showed these kids and he showed these lines of people. He's gone up and talked to these people in the lines. A while ago in the facility, he was showing how these people go into this facility right as they cross the border. There's a building, and they would come out with a manila envelope. And inside the manila envelope would be like a credit card. There would be a cell phone, and there would be instructions on what they were to do, what they were to say, what they were not allowed to say. And then they were loaded up on buses and taken all across our country and just deposited in different cities. So he's been very accurate with covering all of that. And it's very disheartening. I mean, we've got 5 million or more that have come across that border. And with Title 42 expiring, it's a lot worse. And it's just been catastrophic. And on Twitter, there is a Border Patrol agent that I follow. It's the agency. And they said, don't believe anything that you see in the news saying this border is under control, that these are kind, generous people that just they're fleeing for safety. They say that people are getting unalived, that it's violent, that it's dangerous, that it's a lot of men in their 30s and under coming through. So they're talking about it. And basically, this administration is just trying to cover it up. DCAT, oaths are not to be disrespected by anyone. Actually, that's the truth. If you take an oath and you're a representative to protect this country and the people in it, yes, let's hope everybody stands by their oath. DeCat also said they have been sheltering them in those areas since they started to allow them freedom they don't deserve or allowed. That's right. So many people have come to this country, and it's not that they're not welcome. We've said it a million times. We don't go to other countries sneaking in and not having papers and trying to stay and live there, okay, and live off their government. They don't allow it. And most of the countries we wouldn't want to go there and live. So why is it that we don't protect our own country, our borders? Why do we bend over and take it? Like I said, when we can't take care of our own people, especially veterans, the homeless, the mentally ill, there's so much work that needs to be done here. And for this administration just to act blindly like nothing's going on and it's under control is just such a disservice. So I'm all about them going to impeach this guy. Also, Representative Andy Biggs, who is from Arizona, introduced a new article of impeachment against Mayorkas as well that accuses him of violating his oath of office and refusing to enforce duly passed immigration laws. So let's not forget about that. How, the immigration laws that are laws that need to be followed. So another part of the impeachment, it isn't a political thing, you guys. It is about these representatives that have this job to do, this oath they took, and they're not enforcing the laws that were passed. Why have laws if your representatives are not going to enforce them, right? And then Vernon Jones, representative from Georgia here, actually believes that and came out and said that there must be an impeachment against Biden, Harris, and Mayorkas for all of them because they failed to secure America. And that's true. Everybody is calling it now an invasion. There's 700,000 immigrants or migrants that have approached since Title 42 expired, and nothing has been said or done about it. So they're calling it an invasion. So the thing is, a lot of these representatives are saying we don't impeach in the fact of political purposes, okay? But what we're doing is when there's a certain standard, certain laws that aren't met with representatives, getting them out, like the DHS chief needs to go get out. He will not resign on his own. He will not leave. So that's the only choice they have, because we know there are constitutional laws that are being ignored and not being taken care of. There's a precedent that's being set with these people that they can do what they want. And even though they're supposedly representative, they're above the law. They don't have to follow the laws. So basically, Emmer was saying that it's time for this guy to go, that he should do the honorable thing and resign. But we know these people that are in power, that really hate this country, that are destroying this country, do not want to leave. They don't want to give up the power, and he's not going to leave. He's going to, so that's why they're going to try to impeach this Secretary Mayorkas. So those are some of the major boom, boom, booms that are going on, you guys. It is time to put the real military on the border to stop it, Camperman. Yeah. I mean, who knows? I just know that right, Jennifer H. What can we do about our representatives talk about it, but won't do anything? Well, Jennifer, praying is the first thing. I'm telling you, go to the man above all the time, and just sit back. Obviously, we can't take it in our own hands in a forceful, destructive way. We don't want to do that. The point is, it gets frustrating. You're right, and we feel like our representatives talk the talk and don't walk the walk. But there are some out there that are doing good things, and it's just taking a while. I can't imagine the amount of corruption and the amount of lies and falsehoods and hoops they have to jump through just to try to get the truth. You would think that everybody in Congress, everybody that's a representative, state representative, local rep, all of it, that they would be on the same page saying, hey, we don't want this invasion in our country. Hey, if something was handled wrong and we did something wrong, we want to find out who did it and make them held accountable. Unfortunately, you're right. That's not what the times we're living in. But there are, I believe and have faith that there are enough good ones representing us. And the word is getting out there. We have all these different avenues to get the information, all these social media platforms with people who are in the fight, that are trying to do the right thing and are bringing the exposure. That's how we're having the show tonight. Things are happening, maybe just not at the pace that we would hope they would happen. But to me, I'm very optimistic with these three major stories that, boom, I just found out of nowhere. I was like, I can't believe this. I mean, trying to keep up with everything everybody has to say is impossible at this point, but it sure is energizing. And I just keep the faith, and you're right, DeCat. Any of us would be fired. Any of us could be fired for just saying the wrong thing, let alone intentionally doing what this administration did to Mr. T and these people have done to Mr. T. You know what I mean? And sleep with the fish. I know the military took an oath. Yeah, you know what? I believe there's good and there's bad in the military. Sleep with the fish. I really do, because this whole thing about the skirts and the makeup and the dresses and all that, I don't buy that. So this woke military, no. Excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. So I believe even within the military, sleep with the fish, they're dealing with their own sets of people and rules and wokeness and everything else. So it's never been this bad or this swampy. Yes, the swamp is born diseases in DC. They're deeper than you think. And we've been hearing about this. So this is what I want to know, you guys. I want to know your thoughts on this. Mr. T, for all he's been through, I don't worship the man, but I say, is there anybody out there besides Mr. T that you guys think is a fighter for America in this country that you believe in and have faith in, besides God, obviously, and Mr. T? Mr. T is the most outspoken one, and then he's got his team of people. He's got the Bannons of the world, and he's got the Scavinos. But there's a lot of representatives and there's a lot of people that supposedly say they love America, love this country, love freedom, love the laws and the rule of law. But I don't hear a lot of people out there talking about that. And I've said that before. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene, who talks a lot and fights for this country, but then you hear bad things about her. You got Matt Gaetz out there. People like that. And there's always something bad that people seem to say about these people. Obviously, they're going to fight against these people because they're telling the truth or whatever. But I mean, representatives, people that are possibly running for office, people that maybe want to do a presidential run. I still don't hear very many of them speaking out loud and proud for God, country, and America first. It's just kind of sad to me. So for me personally, my opinion about this is I think this is some justification and validation for Mr. T and all the crap he's been through, because that man sacrificed so much to be the president of the United States, and his family has endured a lot. And I don't care what you call him, an egomaniac. I don't care if you say he's rich and he was friends with those people. Sometimes, guess what? You got to rub elbows with the enemy to find out who the enemy actually is, because people wear masks. I'm thankful that the man is courageous. I'm thankful that he's strong. I'm thankful that he calls it out like he always did, even though he's lost some people. People are fatigued and saying, what, Trump is over. We want DeSantis, all that kind of stuff. Listen, I'm all for that if somebody's out there fighting the good fight like Mr. T, but I just don't see it. So that's the thing I like to take into consideration. The man has been in this fight for a very long time, probably longer than we even realized, because, the rumor was they wanted him to run before and he didn't want to do it. And then that he finally decided to run. But we are getting very, very close to 2024. And a lot of this stuff is popping. A lot of this stuff is breaking wide open, and it's about time. And it's not just one side. Like I said, with the media now, the fake media, they have no choice but to tell the truth, because how are they going to cover and hide this? Like Scavino said, and Kash Patel said, how are you going to hide this? When somebody comes out after a 4-year investigation and said that Mr. T is purely innocent, it's everybody else that is guilty. Now, wait and see what the distractions are, because we know every time something like this happens, we get distractions of something else happening elsewhere. And, so we'll see what that's going to be. But I'm going to keep my eyes peeled, and for next week, see if Durham ends up going into testifying and going, like Jim Jordan said, they were calling him in to be able, the Justice Department, to get him to testify. I think that is really good. And next week ought to be exciting. More booms coming our way. Kash Patel has been fighting this fight all along as well. It's not like people haven't been taken down. You guys know this. It's not like people's lives have been slandered and put through the mud. Anytime you're out there in the public fighting the good fight, obviously the corrupt people want to pull everything out on you, even if it's not the truth. And this is a huge, big deal for John Durham to come out today and wrap it up, and with the headlines, Trump is innocent. That's pretty amazing. It is the cat hell is it popping out in their own backyard today. That's right. So I can't imagine how they're feeling today. I know that there's a lot of people that are probably going to try to run for cover. They're going to try to hide their money if they haven't already, or move out of the country. Who the heck knows? But the point is, you can't hide this. And I'm very excited to see what's going to be coming in the next week or so, next day or two. Like I said, I'm just going to keep an eye on Twitter, Truth Social, and other social medias, and all these different paper outlets. And Bannon's War Room is a great place to find out information as well. Rudy Giuliani has his own show on YouTube. He usually actually goes live at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time as well. He had a great show on the other night. Actually, he had Kerry from Arizona, Representative Kerry, and then he had on Bannon. All three of them were talking about different things going on. So when you hear and can watch live shows like that, or even if they're recorded, but it's not edited, is my point, and they bring out all this information and they're on the inside, that's what's really good. Then we see what's going on. It's not just a person behind a camera's opinion. They have paperwork, they have connections, they have people that are in doing the work and seeing the paperwork and knowing who's dirty and who's not, and who talked to who, which whistleblowers here and which whistleblowers there. So it's pretty intense times. But like I said, if you look out there, there's a lot of different places that you can go to find out some good information. I think the bottom line is everyone just wants this to be over. We want to start from scratch. We want to rebuild this country to the way that it's meant to be, with freedom of speech. We want fair and honest e-words. Really, it's not a lot to ask. It's just people that get in power, they don't want to give it up. Money and greed and evil just like to take over, and it's never enough for them. But this ought to put some fighting spirit back into some of you guys. I know it did for me. And I'm excited to see what's going to come out of this all. And I think that this is the go time. I think this is the final button, because if not now, when? You know what I mean? So we'll see. DeCat, matter of public records in the United States is the subject for each case. So we'll see if Durham testifies. We'll see if he talks, what he has to say. But the thing is, you don't forget, we've still got other people that are still fighting the good fight when it comes. There's still a lot of lawsuits and legal legislation going in with the V word. There's a lot of different cities that have gone to paper ballots only, which is pretty amazing. I think there were 12 or 13 the last I looked. There's probably more now. Getting rid of those electronic machines. Remember, we're supposedly not hooked up to the internet, but they are hooked up to the internet. So you guys, there's still people fighting the good fight out there for all the different things that we want to see come to an end, and bad things coming to an end. There are people still fighting it. And like I said, some people get fatigued and you have to step away for a little bit, but other people are still in there fighting. And you know what? We just have to keep the good fight. I know this is like a breath of fresh air for me. It reignited in me the faith and everything and the hope, because I just kind of laid low for a little bit to see what was going on, because, it got really iffy, because I told you guys I was embedded here in Georgia with working the polls and going around to different events and things like that. And the level of stuff that is on the dark side is unbelievable. And it's at every level. And it's, if somebody that is new to this like me, new involved in the last couple years, I would say, can see what's going on. I can't imagine the people that have been fighting this for years, or the people that, are actually trying to do the right thing in office. Because so many times you get elected in there, you get voted in there, and, they sell themselves, or, you get sell out, and then you get corrupt and you flip the switch, and that's not a good thing. If you try to stay in the good fight, then you get ejected. We've seen that happen. We've seen the censoring that's gone on. So I'm hoping that those times have started to become to an end, that the censoring and stuff, that there's enough people having different platforms and building different platforms, that the voices are still going to be able to get out there in a fair playing field, in an even playing field. I know that Twitter has come alive as far as people being able to say and talk freely. That has gotten a lot better. Hey, D-Dog, good to see you. You're a little late to the party, mister. There's been a lot of people on Twitter that have come back, have been brought back. So that's been a great place to go. True Social, of course, is another good place. But there's plenty of different news outlets and stuff as well that are good to look into. And they're growing. The numbers are growing. The different people that are reporting things are growing. The information is just spreading faster and faster. And it comes to that saying, do you remember the saying a while ago that we are the news? And I think we've really gotten to the point that we've become the news. You look at CNN's ratings and how they've tanked. You looked at what happened when Mr. T was on the other night, and they tried to flip it right when he got off the air. And they had that whole panel of people. I'm on time, you're early. Yeah, D-Dog, for me, a nighttime show, this is kind of early. You're right. Right after Mr. T left, and that whole panel of CNN people, experts came on, and immediately they went talking about how all the lies, and saying that Mr. T lied so much that we aren't able to cover them all at this point, that we have to put something together and review everything because he's told so many lies. Hang on, I gotta take another drink. And I saw that and I started watching that, and I'm like, they haven't learned, or they, what was the point of having him on? Why? Because to get the ratings up there. And I think that they thought he was really going to lose people, lose that support, and that they thought that they would gain and garner viewership from it, and that people, once they saw how Mr. T acted and behaved and things they said, that they would turn against him, and it backfired. It's totally the opposite, because he owned that room by the time he left. If any of you caught video footage, candid footage that people took after they went off the air and they cut the cameras, Mr. T was talking to them saying, good job, everybody, have fun, all that. And they were yelling and screaming and clapping for that man. And this audience was hand selected by CNN. It was hand selected by them. They let only certain people in that I probably thought were going to, be against him or ask him things he couldn't answer. But as you watched him answer these questions, like I said, off the grid, he didn't have a script. He didn't know the questions ahead of time per se. It wasn't staged. He just could just fire off the answers. Boom, boom, boom. That's the kind of person we need in this country, not Mr. B, who needs a little cards, and he needs direction everywhere he turns, and he can't have a complete thought. And anybody that really thinks that he's the boss of this country, he's the leader of this country, you're fooling yourself, because the man cannot have a complete thought in a sentence. Everything is scripted through his ear. Somebody's telling him what to say through his earpiece, or the little cards. There's people behind the scenes that are holding him up and having him, he's the face of supposedly the president, but he's not the one that is the powerful one at all. I mean, his ties and his dealings and stuff that he's had, that was an assumption somebody made, an opinion they made, that's why they put him in there. It's Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and all them. He's the exact person they wanted in there, because he was going to be able to be the puppet that they all wanted to get their agendas done, their programs taken care of the way they wanted. So that's why he was like the figurehead that they put in there. D-Dog, they did get him to Mr. T try to lose control. And you know what? It is on them. Hang on, I got a cough again. Hang on. Oh my gosh. The joke is on them. Now, when Christine, was her name Christina, the one that interviewed him, when he said to her, "You're a very rude person," or "You're not a very nice," or "You're a nasty person," I think he said, that was very tame for Mr. T, because when you push his buttons and you're disrespectful, he can lose it. But you can tell he's seasoned now. He's been through so much that what usually triggers him may still trigger him, but he keeps it inside. He is refined, and that is a good thing. He did keep control. The man, I thought about this. How many of you could be in a room of people, most of the people can't stand you, other than the people that came along with you. They are waiting for you to trip, to not speak a word properly, to mess something up. They're just waiting. They're frothing at the mouth for you to make a mistake. Let alone that it's watched all across the world, right? You're on camera. How many of you could really handle a situation like that as well as he did? It wouldn't be very easy at all. Just the pressure of the energy that you feel, you have to have the armor of God on, right? When you're in an environment like that. But he was flawless in that. And, I was really hoping to see CNN do a fair job with this, because I think, why did they have him there in the first place? It was for money and for ratings. Obviously, Mr. T said that they made him a deal that he couldn't pass up, but he handled himself well. And I did say for the interviewer, the girl, I can't even remember her name now. That's terrible. But anyhow, that was a lot of pressure on her, because she had talking heads, bosses in her earpiece as well, telling her, do this, don't show your expression, managing her, because that's what the directors do. They tell you what to say, how to act, where to turn, all that stuff. So it was a big deal for her to do that. But she became nasty. He's right. She became nasty. She was very disrespectful. She did not act like a seasoned professional at all. And it's an embarrassment to people that hold that supposedly journalism degree or broadcasting degree. When you are interviewing somebody, they are supposed to be the center of attention. You are there to pull information out of them. You are there to make them feel comfortable and respected. Your opinion doesn't matter. She was interjecting her one-liner opinions all the time. And that was very unprofessional. Nobody cares. You've got all the time in the world to talk about your opinion on your show on CNN. You have the former president of the United States on your channel. You are interviewing him for the first time since 2016. Your job was to be professional. Your job was to be respectful. And that didn't happen. So it was just, it was bad in my opinion. Donna. Tammy, I like Jim Jordan. And last week, Ted Cruz was at the border again, and I saw a newscast with him having a hissy fit. Some Northerners may not know that term. Yes, the swamp is deep. Hissy fit. I'm a Northerner. I know that term. Yeah. I didn't see Ted Cruz at the border. Like I said, I've just been watching Frank Lopez Jr. again. The other night he was there. It was dark, and there were, what was it, like 20 people that they arrested and put in cars and took off. Then also, it was the sheriffs of Arizona. Was it Texas or Arizona? I believe they both partook in like a conference of some sorts, like an information conference type thing. And they were talking about how on the daily basis, that in the interior of these states, in these cities, that they arrest 20 illegals every stop. Like there'll be 10 or 20 illegals that are in their cities that they load up every time. And they said they were talking about how dangerous it is because, you know, some of them take off and it's speed chases and stuff like that. But there are so many of them in the interim of these cities that it's an all day long effort of try to keep them off the streets and retain them. And so, you know, they don't do the bad things that we know they do when they come here, some of these people, like the drugs and stuff. So trying to keep that off the streets. But the sheriffs did a great job with informing people about that. And like I said, Frank Lopez Jr. does a great job with that. When you look at the crossings and you look at all the debris that's left behind, and you think about the destruction to people that happens, people's property, there's no excuse for this. That's why I'm saying, even if you don't like Mr. T, or you don't like you like Biden, what excuse is there for us to have the open borders like we do? How can you explain that that's a good idea when they aren't vetted? We don't know what sicknesses they have. We've talked about this before. We don't know what kind of drugs they're bringing in. You know, the fentanyl is the big deal. That the deaths from fentanyl have skyrocketed from these cartels and stuff that they say just are running everything. That's not somebody that has America first, agenda first at all. And I just don't know how you back that at all. Let me see. What did you say? I trigger more than just Shane and Mr. B with Baby Shark. It's fun. You know, I guess I am lucky that I don't know what Baby Shark is. I know the song part of it, but I don't know the whole deal with it. So, D-Dog, I think that's a good thing. Isn't it? Joe's one letter away from the truth. Joke. That's true. That's true, D-Dog. So I don't know. It's just been a very my triggers are the 3-pound pull. The cat. Like I said, just a lot of stuff happening. That's really all I had, you guys, were those stories. Like I said, it's exciting times. It really is. And it doesn't seem like there's enough time in the day to keep up anymore. But it's I think the good side is finally the dark is being brought to the light, a lot of it, and the good side is starting to win. I'm going to be optimistic about it because I think all of us have been very patient, waiting to see what was going to come of all this. And Durham, you know, Durham even took it on the head of many times. People made fun of him, said nothing was happening, blah, blah, blah. And here this bombshell gets dropped today. So I guess you guys got to keep the faith, man. You stay strong. That's what fighters do, right? Fighters and warriors fight. We don't give up the fight. So we stay strong. Okay, with that, I'm going to head out of here, you guys, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening. It is early, D-Dog, so there's still time for you to get in trouble somewhere else. Other than that, I will see you guys soon. Like I said, I've been working a lot, so I'm not sure when I'll be able to do the next one, but Lois will say sometimes it's more like dealing with the little kids. I'm taking my toys and going home. Right. But thank you guys for stopping in and for your opinions and for chatting with me. And let's just keep the faith and stay strong and be the warriors that we are, you guys. So love you all. Take care. Peace out. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.